Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Dan and I'm here to bring you another FPL video. In this one, we're going to be looking at my Game Week 21 transfer plans and transfer targets. We'll also be doing a brief review of Game Week 20 and just a little bit on a season review as well, as it's been a while since I've made some content for you. So hopefully you do enjoy this one. Of course, a happy new year to you. Welcome in 2024 with a bang, I hope. And of course, the festive period, whichever way you celebrate it. I hope it was great for you and your loved ones. So let's jump into how we got on first of all in game week 20. Very, very confident and happy about the progress that I've made, not only this week, but as of late. There's been some fantastic green arrows, as we'll see shortly. But a lot of this thanks to Mohamed Salah himself, the Egyptian king, signing off in style before he goes and plays on international duty with a 16-point haul. Of course, Palmer with 18 points, Areola coming in hot with that 11-point as well. So 3 double digits across the team and plenty of other attacking returns to note. So really, really happy. Of course, I even end up benching 19 points, which is a bit crazy, but we've had a few of those type of scores across the season. I think we've had a 17, we've had a 20 in terms of bench points when Simicast got his 15-pointer. So we've had a few of those, but honestly, 96, really happy with that output. Let me know in the comments below how you got on and where you're ranked at the moment. Of course, I will just touch on, as mentioned, a bit of a season review because I haven't, of course, created content for about 3 or 4 months for you guys. So I'd like to just kind of do a bit of a showcase on where things are at for me and just kind of as well use this as a bit of a, almost like a kind of an example to share with you that if you're in the, say, top 1.5 million, 2 million mark and your aim is 100k, then it is still achievable. Even at this point, there's 18 game weeks left to play. We're just over halfway. I honestly think that there's plenty of time to be able to claw those ranks back. And I think this is a pretty positive showcase of that as well. So I don't want to make it too self-indulgent about what we're trying to do here. But ultimately, it's just to showcase that I even managed this row of green arrows here, or run of green arrows, should I say, with making some mistakes, which we'll talk about. So if we take game week 1 to, say, game week 6 as an example to begin with, the season always starts off very volatile. It doesn't matter which season you play. For all of the 7 that I've played, the most 3 or 4, or the most recent 3 or 4 have always been the same. You don't really get to see an established rank until about game week 6 because you've had some transfers to play around with. You might adjust the template a little bit. There could be some wild captaincy choices by random, kind of a little bit more casual managers, let's say. And ultimately, it doesn't really determine where you sit until around that mark. So I was just inside the top 1 million mark about game week 5, game week 6 time. And it just car crashed from there. I literally got to 2.3 million from then to game week 10, which was a catastrophic start for my standards. And in personally, my goal is, of course, always to finish within the top 100k as an active manager. And to be that far low and down so early on, it was very disheartening. But I stayed true to the way that I play the game. I stayed patient. I only took 2 -4s across the whole of the initial first 20 weeks, which you can see there. And I actually wildcarded in game week 10. So if we look at the breakdown of that, 2.3 million in game week 10, and that's after wildcarding. So I actually got a 200k red arrow after hitting the button. But as we know on this channel, and for those long-term viewers, I've always said you always look at the longer term. You never look at a transfer or a chip usage as such as the wildcard as a 1-week thing. It's always a longer-term view. So we then look from game week 11 to game week 15, and we can see that I've jumped then from 2.3 to 1.5 billion. So it's an 800k rise. Nothing to scream about and shout about, but it's improvement nonetheless. So I dropped a little bit there in game week 15 by 200k, but since then I've managed to pull back another 1.1 million worth of rank between game week 15 and game week 20. And not every decision has been perfect. I've missed captaincy opportunities to be able to catapult even more. I've made some transfer errors. Most notably, I would say, is that when Bowen was injured for the Burnley match, I sold him for James Ward-Prowse and immediately regretted that transfer because of how deep sometimes he plays. I kind of saw this, I don't know, I thought it was maybe like a crystal ball moment that he was going to get this massive haul at Burnley for set pieces. And then I eventually transferred him out the week after for Brian Mbeumo, who lasted only 2 weeks in my team due to injury. And then I also had to swap him to Cole Palmer. So ultimately, it's netted in a positive move. I've eventually ended on Cole Palmer. But when you isolate those moves in terms of the mistakes that I made, one, I quickly rectified them and wasn't afraid to say I made a mistake and quickly changed it. And 2, it just showcases that you can still achieve your goal, even if you make some errors along the way, guys. So again, this wasn't really meant to be self-indulgent. It was kind of a bit of both, let's say. It was about about reviewing the progress that I've made personally, but also showcasing what you can do as well with the right approach and the right type of managerial style, I guess. So patience pays dividends, in my opinion. As we move into the crux of the video, then we've got transfer plans route one. Of course, this probably goes without saying, but of course, Haaland is not guaranteed to be fit at this stage, as we know. So at time of recording, I don't know if he's going to be back in the starting 11 for Newcastle away, but if he is and we get any news on it, Alvarez is getting shipped straight out as quick as he got shipped back in to go to that man Erling Haaland as more than likely a captaincy option as well. And of course, to facilitate that, I will be using the funds from Mo Salah down to as low as somebody like Pascal Gross. Now, that might shock some of you. Of course, Bowen, I would say, is probably one of the highlights in terms of midfield transfers. But unfortunately, I don't have the right money. I'm 0.1 million short, believe it or not, for that move. So I can't get Haaland and Bowen this week for game week 21. However, I can facilitate Bowen for game week 22 if I want him. But missing that Sheffield United game of game week 21, I'm not so sure I'll go down that route, but that is route one as a possibility. Route two then is the aforementioned Jarrod Bowen in an isolated transfer. If we get news that Haaland is not fit, then I definitely think this man could be a captaincy shout, and I would facilitate him by selling Salah or Son. And then, of course, we can look at essentially a little breakdown of all the different midfielder options that we have in terms of a shortlist. Of course, I understand that not everybody's team is the same as mine, and maybe you're in the market for a slightly different type of player, maybe a differential of some sort, or maybe you just own Bowen already and you want to go something different. And here's the kind of shortlist. Now, Cole Palmer hasn't made it here because I'm expecting a lot of you own him already. If you don't, then he's definitely included in here, even with Chelsea's mixed bag of fixtures. But I think, honestly, Pascal Gross is going under the radar in terms of his numbers, and Brighton's fixtures look phenomenal. I think he definitely could hit some kind of purple patch with Batoma's absence, March's absence. Their attacking threat is very reliant on individuals like him. Of course, he could be on penalties as far as we understand if João Pedro was not on the pitch. So that's an upside as well at only £6.4 million. And of course, Richarlison, kind of similar boat, really, a little bit more expensive, but we expect him to be on penalties in Son's absence. And he's playing in as an out-of-position midfielder as a number 9 actually on the grass. So we expect that we're going to get a lot of points more than likely from these two individuals, but there's some extras as well that I've thrown in that may be a little bit more differential in Garnacho and Elise. Of course, Elise is yellow flagged at the moment. He's 75% due to a hamstring problem, but I'd expect the time frame between now and game week 21 is enough opportunity for him to recover, you'd hope. And even then, Arsenal away, he's been so creative of late. He's so good on set pieces as well that I think that he's kind of been the Crystal Palace's outlet as opposed to Eze. I don't think he's looked the same since he suffered that setback of an injury a couple of months ago. And Elise has definitely stepped up since returning back from injury and really doing quite well. So let's see if he gets unflagged, then maybe he's a differential option. And of course, last but not least, Garnacho, 4.8 million. Some great fixtures coming up with Tottenham's high line in game week 21. There's obviously a Wolves away and West Ham at home game that are flagged as easy fixtures, but you know, they're absolutely not easy. No fixture is really easy in the Premier League, as we know. But I do think Garnacho's attacking threat and capability in this United team is definitely something to scream about at 4.8 million. I think the numbers are there. They speak volumes. I think as a budget enabler, if you really are strapped for money and you want to find a way to get Haaland back, maybe you've got Trent, Trippier and some other expensive players, then of course Garnacho at 4.8 I think could be an absolute steal. So a couple of options for you there, guys, and let me know in the comments below what your plans are for game week 21. Of course, more community-focused content now for the back end of the video. Prize Mini League update. We have got the top 10 in front of you here. Of course, a few well-known names across the community here, so congratulations to you guys. Ronald Nali sitting at the top there by just 3 points. We've got Mateusz, we've got Jan Aigner, we've got Abdullah, we've got Sebastian. Massive shout-out to all of you guys doing really, really well. All of you, of course, more than likely in the top 50 or top 65k-ish, something like that. Really great start to the season. And it just goes to show how much of a progress you can make, I suppose, when you start really looking at how you make the moves, right? It's been great to see so many people that have been part of the community last year do so well this year. So good luck for the rest of the season for you guys. Of course, if you are interested in joining just the fun mini league, then I have got the code on screen here. The prize one has unfortunately now closed. I only kept that open for the initial 5 game weeks of the season. Could have extended that maybe a bit more, but ultimately I'm not making as much content. So, you know, it's for the longer term supporters of the channel. I want to still reward them with viewing the content and supporting me. But if you do want to test your wits essentially against the community and still just have a bit of fun, then hop over into the Fun League if you want to do so. And of course, last but not least, it is worth mentioning that I do still have the Discord server up and running. I'm semi-active on there, I would say. I'm not fully committed to doing everything every day on there, but certainly if you've got questions, I do check it regularly, so feel free to join us over there. The description of the video will have the direct link to joining that server, so come, feel free, spend some time, hang out. Let's have some engaging conversations still as a community. I'd love to see you over there, guys. Especially while it's harder for me to create YouTube content these days. So once again, thank you for tuning into the content and supporting the channel. Really does mean so much to me. Good luck for the, of course, Game Week 21 and the rest of the season. I will try to make as much content as I can in 2024, but as many of you know, there are plenty of personal challenges along my road to making content. So let's see what I can do. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in another video soon. Take care.